You too. What it is, what it ain't, man. It's your boy Toddy Jones, man. What up with everybody, man? Um, Today I wanted to do a video on how to estimate repairs, or more specifically, how I estimate my repairs. So I want to do a video on that today. In fact, I actually got a comment on one of the videos from Frederick King and Josh Clark. And they asked me to do a video on how I estimate my repairs. So I want to take some time out on this video and talk about how to estimate my repairs, or once again, more specifically, how I estimate my repairs. And as y'all could tell, I'm not on the floor on this video. For the very first time, I'm not on the floor. Mike and B More, who's a subscriber to the channel. Mike was giving me hell, say I'm always on the floor. So I said, Mike, you know what? Next video, man, I'm gonna get up off the floor. So here I am, here in my home office area shooting this video. But back to the subject at hand: how to estimate repairs. When you first start doing wholesale real estate, that's probably gonna be a very intimidating thing in regards to how to estimate repairs. Especially if you like me, you ain't really know about about repairs and how to estimate repairs, how much a roof costs, heating and air, wiring, and all that stuff. I didn't come from that background, and I have very little knowledge on that when I started, wholesale houses or whatever. But I'm gonna try my very best to give y'all a quick little breakdown of how I estimate my repairs. I'll probably do another video around this later on down the line because it's pretty detailed. It is pretty detailed. So I'm gonna try to do a crash course on it right now. So getting out to it, as far as estimating repairs go, let's say you get a call from a seller, you get all the information, and you ask the seller, what are your repairs? Well, first off, let's go back. The important thing about estimating your repairs is, once you do your wholesale formula, if you use a wholesale formula, which most people do, you're going to need to plug your repairs in there in order for you to have a proper offer to your seller, and that helps you know what price you can offer your seller, what price you can't offer your seller. So repairs play a huge critical part of our business. Also, when you're marketing your property to buyers, you want to tell them what the repairs are. Sometimes they may ask you about the repairs. Not all the time, but sometimes, we may get into that a little later. But repairs, estimating your repairs, they're very, very important. They're very, very important, in this business. So let's say you get a call from a seller. You talking to your seller, you ask them your typical questions, and, you get on the topic of repairs, and they start telling you about the house. They say, well, the house is in good condition. You may need a little bit of paint, but we just put a roof on there like maybe 3-4 years ago. It has a new roof on there. They tell you, we just put a new heating and air unit in there just a couple or a few years ago. And they tell you, we took real good care of the house, blah, 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 blah. So you having this conversation with your seller, and that's opposed to most of the calls you may deal with the seller telling you this wrong, this need to be repaired, this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. This seller is doing the total opposite. They're telling you about all the repairs they done on the house, and they're telling you, hey, the house really don't need much work at all. And let's say you get all the details on the house, and let's say the house was built in 1999. You know what I'm saying? So from a house standpoint, that's a relatively, I won't say new, but that's not an old house. It's a relatively newer house. We'll use the word newer. Relatively newer house. So with all that in mind, the house really isn't that old. It's under 20 years old. It was built in 1999. The seller has already told you a lot of great things about the house. They said it don't need repairs or whatever. So in a situation like that, let's say the house was, let me get my calculator out. Let's say the house was 1,500 square feet. We'll go with that because that's some good easy math. So let's say the house is 1,500 square feet. We're estimating our repairs right now. So I put 1,500 square feet right there. And based on everything the seller done told us, they just keep telling us it's in good condition. It's a house they inherited. They live in Atlanta, but the house is in Tennessee, right? So they really want to get out this house as soon as they can, but it's in good condition. They went and looked at it or whatever, blah, 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 blah. But let's say it's 1,500 square feet, right? So in this house, it's under 20 years old. So I'm gonna start off probably on this type of situation. I'm gonna take 1,500 square feet. I'm gonna multiply that by 10 on my calculator. That gives me 15,000. So right now, what I see in this house, when I start doing my wholesaling formula, I'm gonna estimate these repairs at about 15,000. So you basically take the square footage, you multiply it by 10. Now, let's go to another situation. Let's say you actually go view this house. This is a totally different person you talk to. Let's say you go and you view this house. You go out there and you look at it. It's not a rehab. You already know that. You can look, you tell, okay, it's not a rehab. It's not a rehab. So we know that it's not a rehab. But let's say it needs inside paint, needs outside paint. Let's say the roof is not in bad condition or terrible condition, but the roof is kind of iffy. It's getting toward that point where, in the next few years, the roof gonna need to be repaired. Let's say that there are some issues maybe with the air condition. The air condition may need to be repaired. But there are no holes in the walls. You may need to do a little minor ceiling touch up, but there are no holes in the wall. Again, inside, outside paint. You look at the floors. The tile on the floors, they're outdated. You know what I'm saying? You recognize that off top, like, hey, probably need to put some more tile in here. Maybe update a few of the appliances. Those are outdated, things of that nature. On this house, you notice not a lot of bad structural damage, but more cosmetics, more update. Now, the first house we did, that house was built in 1999. So that house was about, almost 20 years old. So let's say you got this call on this house. We just described the conditions. It need work. It does need work on it. That's obvious. That's evident. But it's not a complete rehab. So let's say you go out here, you talk with the seller, whatever. And on this house, let's say this house is 2,400 square foot, right? 2,400 square foot. So we'll put that on a calculator, 2,400 square foot. So there's a significant amount of repairs that are gonna need to be done to this house and compared to the first house we talked about. And this house was built in 1979. So this house is about 40 years old. So instead of taking square footage and multiplying it by 10, this house needs more work and it's 20 years older too. We're gonna multiply it by 15 on this situation. So we're gonna take 2,400 square feet. We'll multiply by 15 instead of 10. If you're doing this with me, you should have got 36,000. So you can estimate the repairs on this particular property to be about $36,000. When you send it out or you start marketing or whatever, you can even put estimated repairs. Like if you send it to a buyer or something, estimated repairs $35 to $40,000. If you want to just put a range in there, maybe a $2,000 range, a $5,000 range. Most people are going to use like a $5,000 range. But this is 36,000. If you like, you can even say the estimated repairs are 35,000 on this kind of situation there. So we did an exercise where we multiplied it by 10 based on the description. We did another exercise where we multiplied it by 15 based on what we saw. Now we're gonna do another one here. Let's say you talk to the seller. You talk to them on the phone. They get on the phone. Hello, man. I gotta sell this house. It's just a house that I can't deal with anymore. It's been sitting vacant for about 10, 15 years. I'm just gonna be honest with you, man. They need a total rehab, inside, outside. The wiring is gone. It's been vandalized. It's just been sitting vacant. And they just telling you all the bad stuff about the house, and they telling you up front, hey, it's gonna need a full rehab. And a lot of people whose property need a full rehab, they will come out and tell you. They'll just say it's gonna need a full rehab. So they're telling you all this. So you still getting, because you look at the numbers, you say even with a full rehab, maybe some, it's worth some time. So you get in your car, you drive out there, and just like the seller described, hey, this property definitely is a full rehab project. All right. So now this property, let's say it's 18. Let's say it's 1,850 square feet. So I'm gonna put that on my calculator. 1,850 square feet on that property, and we need a full rehab on this joker. And let's say this property, the last property we talked about was what, 40 years old. So let's say this one is 60 years old. You know what I'm saying? Let's say this one is 60 years old. So instead of multiplying it by 15, we know this is a full rehab. So we're going to go ahead and bump this up, and we're going to multiply this by 20. Okay, so we got 1,850. We'll multiply that by 20. Our repairs in this house is actually going to be 37,000. So generally speaking, anytime you got a house and it does need a full rehab, you want to go ahead and multiply it by 20. Now, there are going to be some cases where the house is just in such bad condition that you may need to multiply by 25. Let's say, using the same situation of this last house, let's say you get out there and you realize half the house is actually burnt up. You know what I'm saying? It might still work for a wholesale flip, but let's say half of it is burnt. So instead of you multiplying that 1,850 by 20, you go ahead and knock that joke up and multiply it by 25. So now our repairs have went to 46,000 and change, 46,250. So when you do your wholesale formula and formulate your offer to your seller, you include that. And when you start marketing that property after you get it in the contract, you include it as well. So generally speaking, just starting off, this is a good way to kind of start estimating repairs so you can get some numbers that you need. Rule of thumb, 10 for decent, pretty good condition, as we see it. We wholesalers, so probably 90 to 95% of our properties will need work. That's why they're calling us. If they needed absolutely no work, there's a 99% chance they'll probably call a realtor and put it on the MLS. But with that said, if it really doesn't need minimum work as far as what we see for wholesalers, investors, go ahead and multiply it by 10. If it needs more than minimum, but it's not a rehab, it's kind of there in the middle, teetering in the middle, go ahead and multiply the square footage by 15. And for the rehabs, you go ahead and start those off and multiply them by 20. For just complete smash up houses, maybe tear down, stuff like that, go ahead and multiply those by 25. And that's how you can estimate your repairs. That's a quick and easy way to estimate your repairs. It's right there. Now, as you start getting out here in the field and, you get out here in the streets, you start working, a lot of this stuff will start coming to you. Because you'll start to pick up on, okay, this going to normally cost this much. This will normally cost this much. Or this room may only take $3,000 to repair. Or this room may take $8,000 to repair. So as you start getting better, you start talking to people, you start familiarizing yourself with different aspects of this business. The estimating repairs parts become very, very easy. It'll come easier for you than it is now when you first start. I know how it is to be intimidated by those repairs. And repairs are very, very important, but don't beat yourself up over them. You're gonna make mistakes on your repairs. I make mistakes on my repairs. I do it more than I like to admit to y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's natural. You will make some mistakes in your repairs. Unless you're a general contractor, you so to speak ain't really necessarily a professional in that field, so to speak. You know what I mean? So it'll come to you as you start, looking at more houses, talking to more people. And then once you start, once you get a house and you got a buyer out there and you out there meeting with the buyer, you know what I'm saying? Kind of ask them what they think. You know what I'm saying? Kind of ask them what they think. Especially a property that a buyer didn't agree to buy from you. Now they're more prone to be a little more honest with you. Not saying that their buyers are dishonest, but I'm just saying they're more willing to open up a little bit with you. So let's say if you done sold a property and you just talk to the buyer, hey, how much you think it's gonna cost you to get that house in excellent condition or to get the house to rent ready condition. And that's a good way, to formulate your numbers and kind of learn, about repairs and estimate repairs. But I do want to tell y'all this. Once you kind of get rolling a little bit, you got you a handful of buyers that you familiar with. They familiar with you. You got your primary buyers that you pretty much shoot all your properties out to first. Your first priority people. When you start doing that, man, a lot of times, at least from my own personal experience, I don't even be sending out the repairs when I send it to like my main people. I don't even send them the estimated repairs. I'll text them one picture or up to 10 pictures of the property, just all depending on what I want them to see inside. I'll text them pictures of it, get them the address, and I'll get them an asking price. Don't even talk about repairs with my hardcore buyers. You know what I'm saying? My main 3 or 6 guys that I deal with, we don't even really, I'll say now, probably 85% of the time, we're not even talking about repairs, because when I get them the property information, they'll go over there and they'll look at it, and if it works for them, they'll buy, and if it don't work, repairs are too much for or whatever, they don't like it, they won't buy. You know what I'm saying? So as you start to get rolling, man, the repair process, it may not be as a big of an issue as you're thinking it is, but it's definitely very important. It's definitely very critical, because you want to make sure your numbers are right, and so on and so forth. But I hope that helped out, y'all. I hope that helped out some. As I said, I'll probably do more videos on repairs over time, because it's I want to give you like a little quick bit on it, but I really wish I could set it up. We can, you guys can see my screen, and we could like pick out a property and look at the repairs together. Once I figure out this YouTube stuff, I'll eventually get to that point. But I really, really need y'all to do me a huge, huge favor. I really do need you to, if you like what you hear from the video, if you got something from it, please hit the like button and please subscribe for me, and share the video as well. So like, subscribe, share. And if you want me to do any kind of videos on anything, or talk about something, or make a video on this, just comment on it. Just, leave me some comments. Say, hey, Tyler, make a video on this. Or, hey, Tyler, can you talk about this? And, I'll eventually get around to making a video on it. So, again, shout out Frederick King, Josh Clark. They both wanted videos on estimated repairs. So, there you have it. And once again, shout out to Mike and B More. I'm off the floor. Mike, next video going to probably be on the floor, though, homie. But y'all be good. I'm out of here. Peace.